Hey everybody, how's everyone doing tonight? My name is Tammy Hine, and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States. And today I wanted to show you how I prepared this cute little pumpkin box treat holder, or yeah, treats. Excuse me. And I actually created it using the Potions and Spells stamp set and coordinating dies. I didn't use the stamps, so we just put that to the side, but it was really cute for Halloween. I made this really adorable little black cauldron with some green goo hanging over with a kitty and a broom, and this little monster Rice Krispie treat fits perfectly in there for our little trick-or-treaters. Hopefully we get more than 3 this year. I think that's what we got last year. But I had it and I thought, you know, there's got to be more that I could do with this, with a little bit of playing around with it and adjusting some of the pieces. There's really cute. There's a cat, there's some bubbles, more bubbles, some books. I've seen people make the books with Harry Potter colors. It's really cute. And of course the coordinating dies. There's the handles for the cauldron, some extra bubbles, the crow potion bottles. It's really cute. So like I said, we're not going to be using the stamp set today. And out of the dies for tonight, I'm only using the cauldron die. So I'll just stick that to there so I don't lose it. Excuse me. I have this horrible tickle in my throat all day. I think it's this crazy weather here in Chicago. It's today and yesterday it's been 80 and 82. Earlier in the week, over the weekend, it was in the 50s, and then tomorrow it drops back down to the 60s. So it's up and down, and it's just wreaking havoc on my allergies, and so I apologize in advance for the coughing. I did add a greeting to the back of this, and I used the So Thankful For You, there it is, from the So Sincere Cling stamp set that we have. There were so many great options. Many stamp sets that I have perfect sentiments that could go on there. It could be love, it could be faith, it could be hope, it could be thanks, it could be for my friend, whatever you are, creating this for. If you're giving it as a little gift, or if you want to use it as on your table for Thanksgiving dinner. I can show you actually what does and does not fit in it. I rated our my candy drawer as well as the candy bowl for the trick-or-treaters tomorrow. So I have a little assortment of some things here. So 3 Ghirardelli squares fits in here perfectly. And I wrapped this one in a bag, but you don't have to. You can leave it as is, or you can wrap it in a cellophane bag and put a little ribbon on it just to decorate it up a little bit. That fits in there perfectly. A couple of Kit Kats, or miniature Reese's, fit in there really well. M&M's, if you fold over the excess paper, fits in there pretty good. Hangs over the top a little bit, but that doesn't bother me. And I think the Reese's are the same size, maybe a little smaller. Nope, they're about the same size. So I also have these Reese's peanut butter pumpkins. but they're pretty tall, so they hang out quite a bit. But again, up to you, whatever you want to put in there. If you're putting this on your Thanksgiving table, you may want to put some mince in there for after dinner. Or I thought also would be a cute little thing for the Thanksgiving table would be some strips of paper and a little, miniature pen or pencil, and people can write what they're thankful for, and then at the end of the evening everyone could read it out loud or whatever. Just some random ideas. So let's get started. The base of the pumpkin and the box are in pumpkin pie. The stem is in early espresso. The stem curl is crumb cake. And I tried using twine. Where is it? It's probably right in front of me. Oh, it is right in front of me. I did use twine, some natural and some cream colored on here, but I'm a bling girl. I like sparkle. I don't know if the camera's going to pick this up or not, but I also put some Wink Stella on my pumpkin, and there's that little glimmer in the ribbons, so just gives it a little shimmer. Okay, so let's get started. I have a piece of pumpkin pie and my cauldron die. We're just going to cut these out really quick on my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. I'm really hoping that, excuse me, for Christmas, because I've been a good girl, Santa will bring me the full-size Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. I currently have the Big Shot, which is about 12, 13 years old, and it works. It's looked much better in its younger days, but it still functions just fine. Nothing wrong with it. But it's heavy, really, really heavy. And the nice thing about these new machines are they are so much lighter. And okay, done. And what's nice is when you're not using it, the sides on both of them, the mini and the big one, flip up like that, and it's super, super light. So you can take it. I go to retreats, crops, scrapbooking events, and I usually take my machines with, and that Big Shot is just so heavy. So we're all done with that, so we can put that to the side, and we have our two pumpkins. Actually, I'll just leave that there. It's just garbage. Excuse me. Okay, so we have our pumpkins. Now we're going to create our box, and this piece of paper is 7 inches by 3 1/8. Yeah, 3 1/8. Okay. So I've got my scoreboard here, and I have my paper on the 7-inch side, and we're going to score this at 1 1/4. Three 1/4, 4 1/2, and 6 1/2. So again, that's 1 1/4, 3 1/4, 4 1/2, 6 1/2. And then we'll turn it on the 3 1/8 inch side, and we're going to score this at 1 1/4. And that's it. While I have my scoreboard out, I'm going to take just a scrap of the early espresso, and I'm just going to take my scoring pen, and I'm just going to create score marks at every tick on the scoreboard. This is going to be for the stem. Just adds a little texture to it. It looked a little plain all by itself, just straight. And I figured, well, I've got the scoreboard out, I might as well. So that's more than enough. And we'll put that to the side. And our scrap of crumb cake. Now, when I craft, I'm not the kind of crafter. There are multiple kinds of crafters. I'm not the kind of crafter who says, okay, I have a vision, this is what I'm going to do, this is how I'm going to do it, this is the piece I'm going to use, this is this and this, and does it. No, that's not me. I'm the, well, let's try this, and let's try that, and let's try this, and I'll do 10 mock-ups. Maybe that's an exaggeration, but I'll do a bunch. But in the process, I always end up with extra bits, because if I'm working on a card, I'll take this out and I'll go, oh, what about this one? Or what about this color? Nope, I don't like that shape. Or what about this one? And they're perfectly fine scraps or actual pieces of, paper that I could use to create something. So I don't throw them out. I just keep them in here and keep them handy for inspiration. So I went through that and couldn't find anything that I thought I really liked for the stem, so that's why I went with the early espresso and just gave it a little scoring on it for texture. So now we're going to take our box that we just scored. We're going to fold on all those score lines. There we go. Just get it nice and crisp with our scoring tool. And this is super, super simple little box to make. There we go. So turning it into this position where the 1 1/4 inch smaller strip is on the right and the smaller 1 1/4 inch scoring is on the bottom, we're going to trim up to that score line on all of these pieces here, and we'll do a little, and we're going to completely remove this piece here. So we'll go all the way up to the score line, and we'll cut out a little wedge. It just folds so much nicer with that little wedge cut out. Doesn't leave all the bulk. And we'll do the same up here on this next smaller square. Okay, and one more. Now on this one, we're going to take this score out this way into this tab. Like I said, we're going to remove this little rectangle completely, and then we'll angle cut this corner as well. Okay. I always say use whatever adhesive you're most comfortable with. If you prefer liquid glue, if you want to use double-sided glue, if you want to use a tape runner, whatever works for you. Also keep in mind though, you want to make sure that you're using an adhesive that's strong enough to support everything that you're going to be putting into that, whatever you're making. So for this particular box, we don't need anything extremely heavy duty. Don't need a whole lot of glue. So we'll just put down one strip of double-sided tape, take off the backing. And after we take that off, we just flip it over, fold it over. So there's our adhesive right there. This folds over like that. Here's your box. This is the bottom of your box. So here is your seam. So when we put this together, we want to put the last piece to the back where the seam is. It just looks neat, cleaner. Again, use whatever glue is most comfortable for you. I find I like the liquid glue in certain areas because it gives you a little wiggle room, a little time if you put it on there crooked or just, it's more flexible. You put this down, it's down. It's not coming back up. And we'll just hold this in place for just a couple seconds. There we go. We'll set it aside. And back to our pumpkin. So what I did was, I have two pieces for the front and the back. And when I looked at this, I thought, gosh, how am I going to make that a pumpkin? I'm going to have to like completely just tear it apart. Then it dawned on me just to flip it over and just cut out these little notches. Now, for my crafty friends out there who are watching, when you flip it over, what do you see? I see maybe a snow globe. You can cut off the ears. I see a gumball jar, if you cut off those little feet of the cauldron. Or if you leave it as is, I see a cat. So you could leave it upside down, leave it intact, create some eyes and mouth and whiskers, create a little tag, done. It's a little kitty. But we're going to make a pumpkin, so we're going to trim these off. Just following that around like that for the front and the back. Okay. Now my pumpkin needed a little texture, so what I did was, not sure how close up I can get without making it blurry, but I did create some lines in my pumpkin because pumpkins have lines in their natural shape. So I used a guide and I created a score into my pumpkin to kind of mimic the shape of a pumpkin, and then I went over it with a marker just to give a little more depth of color. So I have this was in my scrap bin that I found. It was an oval and it was perfect. It was long enough to fit the width of this. So I took my oval and where'd it go? Here it is. Okay. Whew. Just put it on my little mat here. And all I did was on each side of the pumpkin, I made two lines. One going this way, and two going this way. And the back I didn't do. I left it blank. If you want to decorate the back, that's totally up to you as well. But I just assumed you're going to be looking at it this way, so the sentiment on the back was enough for me. But whatever works for you. So we're going to take our little tool from our scoreboard, help us with this. And pumpkins are not perfect. I'm not perfect. This is not going to be perfect. It's going to be crooked, most likely. But I'm going to try and make it as even as possible. So I'm just holding down my template over my pumpkin. And I'm just digging in just to make indentation. I'll just scoot it over a little bit and do the same. I'd have to use this other end. Okay, yeah. We'll do the same on the other side. We'll just do 2. Okay. While I have my well-used oval shape here, I'll go ahead and draw in that color to add a little depth, a little shadowing maybe. I'm using pumpkin pie. I also brought out Cajun Craze, which is a little bit darker. Both together work very well, but shade on shade is fine as well. So that's what I went with. So I'm just going to go over those lines, and I'll have to go over them twice because it'll just make it darker. Helps if I hold down the template. I went through a couple variations on this project while I was getting it ready. I tried embossing the pumpkin with a plaid embossing folder. It looked nice. It had, a lot of texture to it, but it just didn't look, I don't want to say natural, but it was plaid. If I had a striped one that went just one way, that would have been better, but I don't have a striped embossing folder. So we went this route. So that's done. Put this away. And my oval, so I can use it next time. Now I'm going to trim off a piece of my stem. So I'm going to go in about 2.5 scores in. And I want to make it long enough so that I can tuck it behind the pumpkin, so I can make it as short or as long as I want it to be. And I'm cutting it on an angle. So that's going to go behind the pumpkin, something like that. Again, however short or long I want it to be. And for the crumb cake, I'm going to try and cut this super, super thin. Just like a little sliver. And I'm going to take my very old pick tool and wrap it around. I tried a pencil. The pencil was really thick, and I didn't want my curl that thick. I wanted it more of a tight kind of curl, a curly curl. Like what I refer to as a kersploing curl, because it looks like a kersploing. Okay, so those pieces are done. Our pumpkin's done, our box is done. Now all we have to do is assemble. So we're going to start with our stem, some glue. Put glue on the wrong side. Oh boy. Okay. And just put it right about there. That looks good. Now for this guy, I'm going to use a glue dot because he's so tiny. He probably could stick to the glue I put on the wrong side of this, but just to make sure he doesn't fall off, just take a glue dot. I'm just going to stick it off to the side of the back of the stem. Just press him down so he stays. And then I can adjust the curse-poings. I can go to the side, go up, whatever which way, but I'm just going to leave it wherever it lays, it lays. Now before I attach this to the box, I'm going to go over the edges of the pumpkin just to give that a little bit more depth. So I'm taking my pumpkin pie ink and a dauber, and I'm just going to brush on some ink around the edges. Get a little heavier in some parts, just because pumpkins aren't all one color. So there we go. Close this up. And now we can assemble. For this, I'm going to use liquid glue because I need that wiggle room time to make sure it is exactly where it should be and that it stands up nicely. So just put a little bit on the back. And the edge of this is going to line up with the bottom of the box. I can stand it up to make sure and just press and hold for a couple seconds. Okay. And we'll put glue on the back as well. Holding down. Okay. And where, oh, here it is. Woo, I'm on a roll tonight. Grab the ink. This is going to be for our greeting, our sentiment. Now, one of the other things that I considered was before attaching this piece to the back that I just stamp it directly on here, but I didn't want to do black, and pumpkin on pumpkin would show up, but on the white just makes it stand out, really pop more, so that's why I went with that. And here's my stamp. I already mounted it on a acrylic block. It says, "This is the So Thankful for You." We'll just stamp this up, ink this up, I should say. Hopefully I get this straight. Sorry if my head is in the camera. Down and up. There we go. Oh gosh, where'd all that fuzz come from? The tape is really good. It picks up everything. Okay. And we'll just attach it to the back. We'll get some of our silver and white sheer ribbon. Make a bow. And we'll just adjust this to the whatever size we want. If we want bigger, we want smaller. Just make it nice and tight. That looks good. We'll angle cut the edges of that. And for this, I'm going to attach it with 2 glue dots on the back. Actually, just okay. And I'll just put it right there. And then once it's on, if I decide my ribbon's too long, I can trim it again, but I'm okay with that. I'm fine. Like that. And there's our little pumpkin box. One other thing I just wanted to show you really quick. Instead of just plain orange with the lines, which you can even just hand draw in if you're comfortable with that, drawing in the lines of the pumpkin. I attempted one using some pattern paper, and that turned out pretty cute too. Oh, I forgot my Wink of Stella. Can't forget our glitter. Put some on the stem. Add some to our pumpkin. Just gives it a nice little shimmer. Maybe like it's gotten wet from the rain or dew. There we go. So, this is going to be a lot of fun. I would like to do a box just like this, and make it into a cat. So again, whatever shape you see with this cauldron, either upside down or right side up, it's there for your imagination. Whatever you can create, sky's the limit. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you do, please click the like button, and if you're not already a subscriber, please subscribe if you'd like to see more videos. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope you have a wonderful Halloween and a great upcoming holiday. Right. Have a good night, everyone. Bye.